So now we need to build in the screen. So let's build in the screen. So what's great about Adobe Illustrator is it's going to remember the same settings that we did previously. So just go up to Effect, and right here it's going to automatically save it. We're going to apply the same exact settings, and now we can fine tune it. So we're going to have a 0 depth. It's not going to have any depth. It's going to be in completely flat plane. When we click off of that, it loses all of the depth. We're going to get our direct selection tool, and we're just going to manipulate the screen here to make it stretch where we think it needs to stretch, just to be the screen. And you could do this ahead of time and draw the two squares on top of each other and then do the 3D tool if you don't want to do these separately. Could be a little bit of a time saver, but just kind of doing this to kind of show you how to do it this way. There's lots of different ways to do things. All right, so there's our screen. So we got our screen action going. And go back and make sure that's perfect. There we go. We could toggle off on our layers and kind of see what we have here. So here's our screen. So now what we want to do is we want to create this website layout that's popping out. So we want to build a little bit of a quick web layout or web design, and we're going to layer that so you can kind of get this look we have here. Is we would just want to kind of create a base layer. This will just be the white background of the website. Now we need to create a layer that is going to be the top header. So we're just going to get let's just get the rectangle tool, where it's just like building a website. And let's kind of make it a gradient, kind of like we have the blue gradient before. And we can make it radial if we wanted to. Have it coming down just like that. And let's add a little curve to one side. So I'm just going to click once, just to get that one side. It's a very popular thing to do now, is having that kind of top header do something like that. Let's also do the same thing for this side, so it tucks kind of inward. So we're going to need a profile pic. So let's go ahead and just crop a circle. So we're just going to get a circle for our profile pic. And we're going to need to find a profile pic. So right here is where we're going to need to crop. And you could do it with photos too. You can add a 3D effect to photos. So we just need to crop this circle and find a photo. So I'm going to bring that in. So I have a photo I found from Pexels.com. You can use any photo you'd like, just getting a photo of a profile shot. I'm just going to send this backwards in the layering system and just crop it. Select both, right click, and I'm just going to make a clipping mask. And there's our profile pic. So let's create kind of some titles. We could just represent that with white boxes. This will just represent data or text or a little description. Just kind of what you would typically see in the UX UI kind of layout. And I want to have a little search icon because you could apply the 3D effects to photos, to objects, and also to icons. I just happen to have this icon grid set that we developed in the Digital Design Masterclass, where we did this whole icon set using this grid system. I'm going to borrow a couple of these instead of doing one from scratch. So I have this little search icon right here. And I will supply the icons we use in this particular project, I will supply that to you in the downloadable resources. So I have a little icon here, and I want to make sure anytime you do a 3D effect and you have kind of some live paths and strokes, we want to make sure we outline our paths because it does weird things when you have live strokes and paths. So we could just do that by going Object, Path. We're going to outline that stroke. So now it's a solid object. Just going to make sure it's grouped together. So let's do the body of our layout. We're going to have 4 different lists here. We're going to have a little icon there too, so we can change the size of this. Let's repeat this a couple times, have like a list. So these can be discussions, these can be anything. Let's make sure they're even, because once we do all the 3D layering, it's going to be hard to make sure they're even. So this is the time to do it. Let's lastly have kind of a list. Some kind of box, and let's kind of do some data here. So this will be kind of an icon or a bullet point, and we also have a little box of data here. And I'm going to show you a little special trick. I want to replicate or duplicate these all the way down the list, so I'm going to group these together. I'm going to hold down Option and drag downward, get the right spacing. And I'm going to do a little keyboard shortcut, which is Command D. So I can just keep on pressing D, and it just makes life a lot easier. Command D, Command D, Command D. Of course, it'll be different for a Windows, but pretty close. Get my layout how I like it. That is my very basic UX, UI little layout I want to show off. And let me just kind of change the spacing here. If I have smart guides on, it'll automatically snap into place for me. So I think we're ready to make this 3D and adapt it to our isometric grid.